and the development of American industry to the extent that no one will study. After a short career in law, he turned to teaching, but he does inadequate the available school books well for the children of a new and independent nation. In response to the need for a truly American textbook, Webster published a grammatical institute of the English language, a three-volume work that consists of a speller, a grammar, and a reader. The first volume, which was generally known as the American Spelling Book, was so popular that eventually it sold more than 80 million copies and provided him with a considerable income for the rest of his life. Can you imagine that? Anyway, in 1807, Noah Webster began his greatest work, an American dictionary of the English language. In preparing the manuscript, he devoted 10 years to the study of English and its relationship to other languages, and 7 more years to writing itself. Published in Tokyo in 1828, an American dictionary of the English language has become the recognizing authority for usage in the United States. Webster's purpose in writing it was developing indistinct meaning, pronunciations, and spellings from those of British English. He is responsible for advancing many of the simplified spelling from distinct American English from British. Webster was the first author to gain copyright protection in the United States by being awarded copyright for the American Spelling Book, and he continued to lobby over the next 50 years for the protection of intellectual properties. The author's rights. By the time we brought out the second dictionary, which included 70,000 entries instead of the only 38,000. Then Webster had become synonymous with American dictionaries. It was this second edition that served as the basis for the many revisions that have been produced by others, ironically under the uncopyrighted Webster name. The question has often been posed: why were the Wright brothers able to succeed in an effort of which so many others had failed? Well, many explanations have been mentioned, but 3 reasons are most often cited, and I tend to agree with them. First, the Wright brothers were a team. Most men worked congenially and cooperatively, read the same book, located and shared information, talked incessantly about the possibility of man flight, and served as constant sources of inspiration and encouragement to each other. So, to put it quite simply, 2 geniuses are better than 1 genius. Second, both brothers were great pilots, so unlike some other engineers who experimented with the theory of flight, Orland and Weber Wright experienced the practical aspect of aerodynamics by building and flying gliders, and this may surprise you. Flying kites. Now, each car that they built was slightly superior to the last because they incorporated in the knowledge that they had gained previous failure to adjust the next design. They had realized fairly early on from their experiments that the most serious challenge in man flight would be stabilizing and maneuvering the aircraft once it was airborne. So, concentrate the effort on the problem of achieving lift for takeoff. The Wright brothers were focusing on developing 3-axis control for guiding their aircraft. By the time they started in the mainframe, they were already among the world's best glider pilots, and they knew about the problem of riding engineer firsthand. In addition, the Wright brothers had the more effective wings for their airplane than anyone else had been able to engineer. Using a wind tunnel, they tested more than 200 different wing designs, recording the effects of slight variations in shape from the pressure of the air on the wings. Data from these experiments allowed the Wright brothers to construct a superior wing for their aircraft. But, in spite of these advantages, the Wright brothers still might not have succeeded if they hadn't been born at precisely the right time in history. Attempts to achieve man flight in the early 19th century were doomed, because the steam engines that powered the aircraft were just too heavy in proportion to the power that they produced. But by the end of the 19th century, when the parallel engineering option, a relatively light internal combustion engine had already been invented, and their air ratio and weight to power within acceptable limits for flight. Right.